ultra athletes, adventure racers, and people that want to push themselves to the absolute limit. That's what we're here to talk about today with our Enduro 2, our Ultra Performance GPS smartwatch. And I got Ben here to tell us a little bit about it. Ben, start off with just introducing yourself, because you got a pretty cool story.
I guess, yeah, I'm a product manager in our outdoor team. And I love being in the outdoors, pushing the limits of my own endurance. And yeah, I'm lucky enough to be designing a watch that helps me do it.
Absolutely. And so give us a little bit about your background, because you've been pushing the limits for quite a while now.
Yeah, I was a pro triathlete for more than a decade. Everything from sprint and Olympic distance up to Ironman. But when I retired from that, I just wanted to spend more time in the outdoors, on the trail, in the dirt, just, pushing myself even longer, even farther, multiple days. What was I actually capable of? Yeah, I traded that black line on the bottom of the pool for the infinite trail ahead.
That's amazing. And so let's talk about who Enduro is really for.
Yeah, it's for people that want to see what they're capable of. It's people who are into ultra trail running, backcountry skiing, adventure racing, bike packing, these adventures that can be multiple days in length, and you want to be able to track the whole thing and prove that you did it.
Absolutely. And so we had an Enduro 1, and so we talked a little bit about the family. The Enduro is really designed to push the limits and endure.
That's right.
And so we had the original, and now this is Enduro 2. So what is a little bit of the difference, and what does that family stand?
Well, with Enduro, the task was really how far can we push battery life? We had people that just wanted to get the most out of their watch. They wanted to be able to record a 5-day adventure race. And with Enduro, we did that with, up to 70 hours of just GPS only, and there were ways to get your settings up to even longer. We had people recording 100-hour GPS files on that, and at the time that was like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And people came back to us and they said, "This is great. We love how efficient you made this watch. The solar is phenomenal. We want mapping. We want these, more premium features that we need as tools when we're in the backcountry." Mm-hmm. And so, we went back and said, well, how do we do this? How do we offer that much battery life in a watch, or even more, but still have these things that really, they take more battery to do? A map and, adding music. They're battery intensive, power intensive things. So it took a serious engineering effort, but we did it. We have more than double the battery life on Enduro 2 than we did on Enduro. And GPS only, you can get up to 150 hours now. I mean, it's crazy,
yeah.
Right? Like, I'm so excited to see what people are able to do with this watch. Mm-hmm. How far they're able to push it, what they're able to record.
And not even that, we upgraded some of the hardware too. So not only can you record distances like you've never seen before, you got mapping. That was a huge ask from before. Mm-hmm. Now, sapphire screen.
Yep. So you got a sapphire screen. We added a flashlight.
Okay.
We've got maps. Like I said, music.
Silicone band.
A touch screen. Yeah, we put a silicone band in the box along with the UltraFit band, just in case you're doing like a high water velocity event. If you're in a kayak going off a waterfall, that silicone band is gonna hold on.
Okay. Let's dive into some of those, because you hit a lot of major points right there, and I want to talk about a little bit of those.
Let's do it.
Mapping. What type of mapping did we add on here? Because that was probably the biggest request for this watch. And so we really took that to heart.
Yeah, so we've got topo active maps.
Yep.
It comes with your region. If you buy it in North America, you've got North America topo, or Europe, you get Europe. But you can download whatever region you're going to. So we've got a map manager on board, and you can switch around what maps you have there.
So if you're going to do a race in a different continent, you can download those maps ahead of time. And
that's right.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And so you can't talk about mapping without touchscreen, because those two feel like they almost go hand in hand.
So touchscreen, when you're out there, you're using a map, the touchscreen is really helpful for panning, zooming. It just makes that map a lot more user-friendly. Mm-hmm. So putting that touchscreen on there was really for that use case of being able to use the map in a compelling way, in a quick way when you're out there.
Absolutely, and it really does help those ultra endurance athletes. When when you're at a long event, you're not thinking the same way you hand, and you still have the buttons abilities, but being able to pan with a touch screen.
When you're at hour, even hour 20, let alone hour 80 of an event, you got some brain fog, you're sleep deprived. Anything you have to do is a lot of task loading. So how can this watch reduce that task load for you? Have the tools you need, have them in a simple way so that you can get to them and get the most out of those tools.
And so one of those features that we brought over from our fēnix series is the up ahead feature to help with that.
That's right. So if you're running on a course and you've set course points along, up ahead lets you see how far away those are. You can, really while you're running, just at a glance, see what's coming up.
Okay.
Just like the name, implies.
Up ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that really helps manage resources. And one of the other things that we've done is the stamina feature. So managing your external resources with up ahead, how much food, water you have to get you to the next checkpoint, but then the stamina helps manage your internal resources.
Yeah, so that's a really cool feature for endurance athletes. It uses your VO2 max and heart rate and your training history, and it tells you, what is your your stamina, but it's telling you how much you have in reserve, how far you could go at your current pace or even a faster pace, and it lets you know when you get to zero stamina, that's when you're like, okay, this is what I've got today. You can keep going, but it's you're in it now.
Yep. So one of the things that's really helped me with is when I race, I just go too hard at the beginning. I think a lot of people are in that environment where it's like they're excited, your legs feel good, you're like, I can go. And you start looking down, you're like, I can only hold this for a couple more miles. And it really helps manage your effort over a long distance.
And that's exactly what it's meant to do, is just help you manage that.
Absolutely. So we've listened to our customers. There's a couple key features that we wanted to talk about. I believe Sat IQ was one of them. What is that? I heard some rumors that Garmin did something pretty incredible with this to really help push this product to the next level.
So we launched launched multiband with fēnix 7. So that's a new satellite technology. It uses 2 different frequencies to give you a much more accurate position when you're in conditions that demand it. So dense tree cover, you're on a cliffside, you're in a canyon. Those are really hard places for a GPS antenna to get an accurate fix. Multiband solves that, or helps solve that, right? So you're in a narrow canyon, it's using 2 different frequencies, and it gives you a better positional fix, right? Okay. So now you're getting track logs that are able to follow the trail.
Okay.
What Sat IQ does that's really cool and unique to Garmin is it helps you, so you don't have to choose that mode. You don't have to select multiband all the time. You can in the menu go in and say auto select. What Sat IQ does is it chooses the best GPS mode for your situation. So if you're running in a prairie, you only need GPS. You can have an accurate position there, right? It's going to put that line right on the trail.
Yep.
But if you drop from that prairie into the Grand Canyon, all of a sudden you've got a really challenging GPS environment. It's going to automatically switch to multiband. Okay, so now you can go out and just one setting. You don't have to predict what mode your watch needs. It's going to select it so you have the best position possible with the least amount of energy used. Multiband, it's energy intensive. You get about half the battery life if you're running multiband. So when you don't need it, you don't want it on.
Yeah.
And the watch will do that. It turns it off when you don't need it.
Wow. And so talk to me about some of the other software features in here. I know one of the other ones was the grade adjusted pace. So we have a lot of adventure athletes that are not running on flat ground. We're here in Kansas, so it's pretty flat most of the time, but a lot of people don't get this experience. Yeah,
so anytime you're on a trail, pace alone is a really tough metric to use for running on trails. If you're running uphill, it's a lot more challenging than running on flat ground.
Totally.
So if you're out and you want to manage your energy expenditure, one way people use is to just try and keep a steady heart rate. But if you're out for long times, your heart rate drifts, and depending on the day, your heart rate can change. So what grade adjusted pace does is no matter what grade you're on, it translates that that pace you're going into what it would be on flat ground. Okay, so grade adjusted, it adjusts your pace from what you're actually going.
Yep.
Right? If I'm running 10-minute miles, but I'm going up at 10% grade, what is that on flat ground? And it's going to tell me something like 6-minute pace, right?
Okay.
So that way, when you're running on trails, you can keep a steady grade adjusted pace, and that's going to help you manage your effort level throughout. So you can start to pace more evenly and have a more prevent those energy spikes that take your stamina down really fast.
Yep. Or looking at your watch and be like, I'm at a 10-minute pace and this is not where I've trained to be. And so it kind of helps keep your
exactly.
Keep you in a good space.
If I'm looking at my watch and I'm thinking I want to be holding 7:30 pace on this trail, and I'm looking at my watch and it's telling me 10-minute pace, I'm going to feel pretty bad about it. But if I'm looking at my watch and it's telling me, actually, your grade adjusted pace is 7:30, I know I'm right where I want it to be.
Very cool. Okay, so to continue along some of those really cool new features, tell me about Next Fork.
Yeah, so Next Fork, we added maps, right?
Yep.
But when you're out on a trail, this is a pretty small map, 1.4-inch display, but it's still something when you're running along, we thought, how do we make this so that you get the most out of your map in just a glance? Okay, so what Next Fork does is it tells you what is the next trail intersection and how far away it is. It sounds pretty simple, but it's amazing to be on a trail and say, out here, I think the closest trail up that way is Orange Trail. I look at my map, it's going to tell me Orange Trail, 0.3 miles.
And do you need a course for this?
You don't need a course. So this is for people who aren't loading a course onto their watch.
Okay.
It's at a glance. Anytime you're out running or cycling, or just you look at your map and you've got the next trail that intersects the road you're on. It'll work in the city. It works really well out on trails.
Okay. So continuing kind of the trail theme, for those ultra endurance, we've added rest timers in, right? That was one of the big requests that we had from that audience base.
Yeah, so with Enduro, we launched the ultra running activity. And that's really designed for people that are doing these longer runs. You're wearing a pack and you're out for a longer period of time. And one thing we added there that's unique to the ultra run is the ability to record a rest split. So if you stop for an aid station or checkpoint in a race, you want your clock to keep going, but you want to recognize that you're not running there. That's not, you don't want to add that to the rest of your totals from running. So so the rest split allows you to keep that clock going and time how long you've been stopped for. So it'll count how long you've been stopped. Well, with the original Enduro, that required that you press the lap key. And we know ultra runners, they've got a lot of task loading. There's a lot of things to think about. So we said, all right, why don't we just make that automatic? When you stop at a checkpoint, or even if you just stop to tie your shoe, we're going to say, all right, you're stopped. We're just going to record a rest split.
Okay. So it's similar to like on some of our Edge products, like just the auto stop feature.
Yeah, it's
like
a lot like auto pause, but here it keeps the overall timer going.
Okay.
And there's no chance you're gonna forget about it, because when you start again, it just keeps going. It's gonna end that rest split and start again.
Okay, very cool. We know this question's coming because they're pretty similar. fēnix 7X versus Enduro 2. We've done some cool stuff with this Enduro 2 to separate it and make it different. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so 3 big differences: longer battery life, brighter flashlight, and it comes with both the silicone and the ultra fit band.
Okay. Why would you what's the point of a silicone versus an ultra fit band?
All right, so the ultra fit band, super lightweight. It's got a hook and loop design, really easy to adjust to exact the right fit while you're going. It's a little stretchy, so it's nice and comfortable, and it breathes. Okay. The silicone band, if you're going off a waterfall in a kayak or a high velocity water sport, even just an open water swim where you're running into other people's arms, that silicone band is pretty bomb proof. Okay.
So it's gonna be much more secure, and it's really gonna help live to that Enduro name.
Exactly, yeah. We wanted this to be just a tough watch that could go anywhere, do anything, and that silicone band is for those just extreme moments where you need that extra security.
That's fantastic. So Ben, let's go ahead and take a jump back just a little bit about that flashlight, because that flashlight is pretty incredible. I know it is in the fēnix 7X, but we've done some special stuff here. And you were telling me a story just a little bit ago about how you were doing a Grand Canyon run. So tell me a little bit about that and how this kind of plays together.
Yeah, so with Enduro 2, we made the flashlight brighter. It's a little less refined. You can see the LEDs on the side of this, but Enduro is not about being refined. It's about being a piece of equipment for you out on the trail, right? And so a couple months ago, I'm out running rim to rim to rim. That's almost 50 miles and 11,000 feet of vertical gain. Running from the south rim of the Grand Canyon to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and then you go back down and come back up to the south rim. So it's an all-day event. It's kind of a rite of passage for an ultra runner.
Okay.
And I did that, and I used the Enduro 2 for that. So a couple things. I knew in the canyon, you're pretty much going to be using multiband the entire time because you've got these canyon walls. If you've ever seen somebody that's recorded a GPS track, I mean, they are terrible. You've got these tracks bouncing off of walls, going back and forth as they're going through the canyon. Multiband sticks right on the trail. You get every switchback. You got a really solid track, even down in the canyon, 5,000 feet below the rim. You're getting a solid GPS track. So that was one thing that was just awesome about this watch, was that I knew it was going to get me the most accurate track possible. And then the battery life and flashlight were really essential. I wanted to be as light as possible, and I knew that there was going to be a section towards the end when it was going to get dark on me, and if I got delayed, it could be quite a while. So having that flashlight as kind of a piece of security was great. But not just that, I had the battery to know that after it got dark, even running the most power intensive GPS mode of multiband, I knew that I had enough battery life to keep running multiband and run the flashlight and get me back to my parking lot. So that was just an incredible thing to have one watch that could do all of that for me, and just that peace of mind. That extra bright flashlight really came in handy. I mean, it gets pretty dark down in the canyon. So it really made the trip better. I didn't have to carry an extra light, and I was able to get back safely.
That's some serious product testing right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Ben, I'm excited to follow along with your adventures. I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you so much for coming out here today to record this video with us. Phenomenal product, and we're excited to see where the future holds for us.
Yeah, thanks, Brock.
Thank you.